Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium. Welcome, horror freaks and fanatics, to a revoltingly hypnotic journey into the darkest, slimiest depths of absurd gore and provocative horror. Tonight, we unravel the twisted secrets of Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium, a fever dream of grotesque body horror, salacious seduction, and relentless carnage. This is the movie that dares to ask, how slimy is too slimy? Spoiler alert, it's never slimy enough. So, buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into a world where terror oozes from every corner, morality slides away on a coat of goo, and the line between pleasure and disgust is obliterated. The story begins, as all great misadventures do, with a group of overly confident thrill-seekers. They come armed with flashlights and bravado, ready to explore the legendary Sanguinarium, a decrepit building shrouded in unnerving urban myths. Murder, plague-borne monsters, and slime-dripping horrors. It's a daredevil's dream, and a healthy person's worst nightmare. But of course, they can't resist. Who could? The Sanguinarium is said to be ground zero for a string of mysterious disappearances, and rumor has it, something unspeakably grotesque awaits inside. The walls practically ooze with dread, and maybe with actual ooze, inviting them in like flies to a web. As they step through its doors, they're engulfed by an atmosphere of suffocating unease, low red lighting, distant whispers, and... is that slime underfoot? Yes, it is. And then, they appear. The slime sirens. These creatures are a harrowing combination of allure and nightmarish deformity. They slither and smile, inviting the group closer. It's a moment designed to seduce and repulse in equal measure. You want to look away, but you can't. And then, it happens. One of the adventurers, predictably, succumbs to their hypnotic charm. Slimy fingertips trace his horrified face as he's pulled into an abyss of seduction and slaughter. No one can help him now. The remaining group members, frenzied and panicked, delve deeper into the labyrinthine halls to escape the siren's grasp. But the Sanguinarium has other plans. This is no mere haunted house. It's a living organism, pulsing with malevolent purpose. They stumble upon horrifying remnants of past visitors, torn clothing, splatters of blood, and slime-coated skeletons seemingly frozen mid-scream. In one chilling room, partially human figures lie preserved in viscous, bubbling vats, an unsettling glimpse of the experiments that bred the slime creatures. Each room is a new nightmare, and the deeper they go, the more the air itself seems to hum with the cries of the consumed. At one point, slime begins dripping inexplicably from the ceiling, pooling at their feet. And soon, it's no longer just a substance, but an ever-watchful, ever-growing presence. Let's talk about the body horror in Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium, a true masterpiece in making you lose your lunch. And no, we're not just talking about some measly jump scares. This is hardcore, skin-crawling terror, born from incredible practical effects. One by one, victims succumb to the slime, and the transformations that follow are disturbingly creative. Flesh is stretched, twisted, and melted into grotesque new forms. Imagine hands grotesquely fusing into weapons, mouths gaping wider than nature ever intended, and eyeballs pushed into places they definitely don't belong. Every death is an art form in itself, every scream laced with agony and slime-induced despair. And for all its absurdity, it hits a visceral note. The grotesque becomes almost lifelike, and you can't help but feel the texture of the slime crawling over your very skin as you watch. This is how horror gets under your skin, literally. At the heart of the Sanguinarium lies its greatest horror, the queen of the slime creatures. She is the matriarch, the mastermind, and the living embodiment of everything twisted about the Sanguinarium. Over 7 feet tall, her body is an amalgamation of corrupted human and alien features, pulsating with sickening fluids as living tentacles writhe from her torso. Her backstory, hinted at in fragments of disturbing journals scattered throughout the lab, paints a horrifying picture of a once human scientist who gave herself over to the slime in the name of transcendence. But what she gained in godlike power, she lost in humanity. It's here that the remaining survivors realize the true stakes. Kill the queen, and there might be a slim chance to escape, or join her endless ranks of slime-covered horrors. Easier said than done, though. She's not just a creature, she's the hive mind, a goddess in her kingdom of goo. As the survivors attempt to mount their final stand, paranoia and desperation take hold. One of them betrays the group, seduced by the queen's offer of immortality through a slimy transformation. The betrayal sets chaos into motion, and the screen explodes into a cacophony of violence, gore, and, of course, buckets upon buckets of slime. The queen turns the lab against them, manipulating its living walls and slimy corridors to trap them. But it's not over yet. Armed with nothing but makeshift weapons and sheer primal willpower, the remaining survivors push through wave after wave of slime creatures, determined to end the nightmare. The climactic battle against the queen is a symphony of slimy destruction. Fists fly, tendrils lash, and ichorous fluids splatter across every surface. The survivors must not only contend with the queen's overwhelming physical power, but the psychological terror of her presence, a being so alien and predatory that her very gaze feels suffocating. In a final act of defiance, one of the survivors sacrifices themselves, using explosives to obliterate the queen's lair. The scene culminates in a jaw-dropping explosion of slime, shrapnel, and fluorescent goo. For a moment, it seems the nightmare is over. But can horror ever truly end? The final moments of Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium suggest otherwise. As the remaining survivor stumbles into the daylight, bruised and battered, a small droplet of slime, barely noticeable, glimmers at the edge of their pant leg. Cue a sinister swell of music and a fade to black. The message is clear. The infection isn't over, and the horrors of the Sanguinarium aren't done yet. What makes Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium such a standout horror experience is its unapologetic absurdity. It's grotesque, provocative, and unrelenting in its vision. By refusing to conform to conventional horror tropes, it pushes the genre into hilariously grotesque territory that both shocks and entertains. The film plays with themes of indulgence, both human and monstrous. The slime sirens embody everything tempting, primal, and destructive about human desires, while the Sanguinarium itself serves as a grotesque mirror to our worst instincts. And then, there's the gore. Lovers of body horror, rejoice! The dedication to practical effects ensures every moment feels sickeningly real, every grotesque transformation tangible enough to haunt your nightmares. Slime Sluts of Sanguinarium isn't just a movie, it's an experience. It's a sordid, slimy love letter to all things weird, campy, and terrifying in the world of horror. With its provocative tone, shocking body horror, and unrelenting creativity, it solidifies its place among cult classics. So, if you're brave enough to endure this slippery descent into madness, prepare to laugh, squirm, and scream in equal measure. And remember, the slime always lingers, long after the credits roll. Until next time, horror fanatics, stay scared, stay slimy, and don't look away. Even when you really want to.